It is said that men like three sounds the most: the roar of engines, the sound of tires screeching, and the fierce sound of gunfire. And these elements are all present in Netflix's Lost Bullet 2, Back for More. The story continues right after the end of Part 1. Lino lies in the hospital next to Julia with a wild hairstyle. In Part 1, she is the goddess that Lino desires but cannot have. Seeing Lino regain consciousness, Julia immediately asked him with concern, but Lino asked about the whereabouts of the fateful bullet. He emphasized that he must keep it carefully so that the corrupt police officer Ariski does not steal it. Lino asked again about another corrupt police officer, Marco. Was he arrested? Julia was silent. Marco killed Lino's brother. Lino had refrained from killing him and chose to arrest him, just wanting the law to punish him. But things don't go as planned. Chief Moreau reached a deal with Marco, and that guy became a protected witness. But Julia couldn't say these things. She felt sorry for Lino, so she could only turn around and leave. Julia, full of guilt, went out and met Director Moreau. She disagreed with Moreau's approach, but her voice was too small. She is just a small member who couldn't stand on the sidelines and could only go with the flow. Just like that, half a year passed. Lino, with the will to avenge his younger brother but has no clue, can only follow Ariski's wife Lila every day. Lino sleeps in the car 24/7 to follow Lila from home to work. Lila got bored of being followed by him, so she went directly to Lino and said, "I really don't know where Ariski is. Can you please let me go?" Lino was a bit embarrassed, but did not answer and continued to drive after her. Just at a corner, Lino was blocked by Julia and her teammates. Julia was very dissatisfied with Lino's behavior. Two other teammates rudely checked Lino's car. In the entire trilogy, most of the police teammates do not have a good relationship with Lino. Julia told Lino that the police team was always monitoring Ariski's wife and parents. As for you, you can't continue like this anymore. Lino is also not satisfied with Julia's behavior. There used to be some vague feelings between the two, but because of the ongoing police case, the two gradually drifted apart. At night, Lila was alone at home cleaning when she heard a noise outside the window and saw someone watching in a car. She also felt helpless. The person in the car was Loic, who was knocked unconscious by Lino with two moves in Part 1. They saw Lino driving again through the rearview mirror and were speechless. Loic recalled Lino's rampage in the first episode. Although his colleagues were not convinced, they only dared to complain. Lino sat in the car and continued to monitor. Meanwhile, the French police were really limited. After calling for support, Loic and his teammates could only go provide backup. Seeing the police car leave, an attacker's opportunity had come. Lino saw a sneaky guy approaching, who was wearing an armband. Lila, who was in the house smoking angrily, heard strange noises and quickly stood up. She saw two people opening the door, but behind them someone came in through the window. Lila was so scared that her face turned pale and quickly ran back to her son's room, using a cabinet to block the door. The mother and child hid helplessly in the room. The people outside the door were still trying to trick Lila. "We were sent by your husband." Lila seemed to trust him. There was a loud noise. "We don't see how Lino defeated the first guy. I just saw the angry guy get taken down." Just then, the war god Lino entered the room. A thug picked up a knife, feeling the advantage was in his hand, and immediately attacked Lino. Lino used only one move to easily control him, an easy takedown. What followed were merciless blows. Two other thugs just arrived. Even though they had knives, they did not dare to attack. The two of them mustered all their courage and immediately attacked Lino. Half of a knife went missing. Another thug with some bravery even hit Lino, but the injured thug stood up and continued to counterattack, but was thrown away. Lino embraces the nature of using whatever is at hand. He grabbed a set of makeshift weapons and immediately began to attack. Just hearing this sound made me feel pain. He beat the thugs until they had no strength left. The injured thugs still wanted to continue. Finally, Lino was so tired that he lay down on the sofa and watched Lila go downstairs. There is tension between these two people. Julia and other police comrades arrived together. Lino wanted to participate in the interrogation, but was denied by Julia. According to Julia, she gave Lino half a year to get back on his feet, but Lino still kept making trouble. She was extremely disappointed. However, she still honors Cheris's wish to give Lino a chance. "Tomorrow, come to the anti-drug team." She threw Lino a set of car keys again. Everyone noticed Lila nearby, smiling very ambiguously. Just like that, Lino went to a car repair depot. This used to be Cheris's dream car team. Now Cheris is dead, but his Renault 21 is still parked there. Lino tried to start the car, but failed twice. For the third time, the Renault 21 did not disappoint. It started successfully, and Lino was back behind the wheel. A year later, Lino became a member of the anti-drug team. After all, he is both the god of vehicles and also the god of war. It would be
pity not to go after the fugitive drug traders. Today there was another mission. Julia led the team and Lino drove. The entire anti-drug squad began to attack. In Part 2, the drug trading gang changed their car brand and now drives 4 Audi wagons. Why do all the traffickers here drive wagons? Lino follows the Audi A6 wagon on small roads in France. He was worried it would find out. There was a BMW dual cab and a rear-end accident in front. In the car, there was a man named Dogue Foray. The wagon drove away. Julia told her subordinates to quickly block the way, but it couldn't block it at all. On the contrary, it almost affected Lino's speed. Just like that, the trafficker took Lino straight into oncoming traffic. Lino asked Julia for advice. After receiving permission, he resolutely continued to follow them and drove for a while as they crossed the border. The Spanish National Police also participated in the chase. Julia firmly ordered Lino to go straight, so the Audi A6 wagon flew into the air. Not really, but it was a close call. Among the Spaniards was an old friend of Chara's named Roche. In the Ast, it was he who introduced Marco to Chara's. Roche begins to complain to Julia. You crossed the border to enforce the law with extremely brutal methods. Julia said, you can keep the criminal, I want the drugs. But Roche refused. Perhaps because of his relationship with Chara's, Roche has a pretty good attitude towards Lino. The two of them chatted for a while and it seemed like they already knew each other. Back at the police team's warehouse, Julia invites Lino out for a drink after work. Faced with the goddess's invitation, Lino refused. Julia was a bit surprised, but she saw Leela come to pick Lino up from work. The two looked extremely intimate. Even Leela's children are very close to Lino. At this moment, Julia realized that Lino was truly a determined person. If I can't capture Areski, I'll make his life hell. A new character appears, Yuri. He is the #1 fighter of the OAFS anti-drug department, not the police department. Yuri watched from afar. The person hiding in that house was Marco. Yuri confirmed Marco's whereabouts and immediately reported it to his superiors. That place is hard to attack and has 2 cameras. If you do it yourself, it will be very troublesome. The leader decided to send a killer. The next day in the police squad warehouse, Lino was tuning the Renault 21 to be a beast. The draw on the power was too large, causing the entire warehouse to lose power. Julia, who was already upset, saw Lino causing chaos and became even angrier. She told him to quickly clean up this mess. Lino was still upset when he received a bogus phone call from Yuri's subordinate. That person lied that his adoptive mother wanted to meet him and his late brother. Even though this foster mother was only the guardian of Lino and his brother, Lino still said he would go visit. Yuri saw his subordinate hang up the phone. He was very pleased with this move and promised his subordinates that he would not let them become expendable like Areski. Remember this point, Yuri is a very ruthless police officer. Lino had no idea this was a plot, so he went to the address given to him. He also held a bouquet of flowers and started looking for his adoptive mother. In the police department, Moreau sees Lino through surveillance cameras. She had a headache and immediately contacted Julia. As for Lino, he couldn't find his adoptive mother but found his enemy Marco. The one-on-one confrontation at the farm begins again. This time Marco is a target and Lino is part of a special task force. But why is this confrontation so fast? Lino saw the identical anklet on Marco's foot and slightly understood Marco's new identity. Julia now calls to tell Lino absolutely not to touch Marco. Wait for me to come and explain. Lino felt that Julia had betrayed him and hung up the phone. When Julia drove the Mercedes van to the destination, there was no one left, only an anklet remained. But Lino didn't kill Marco. He took Marco to the police station. He wanted to make it all public and interrogated Marco to find Areski's whereabouts. Director Moreau had another headache and quickly asked Lino to stop. She asked Lino how he found Marco. Lino told her that there was an anonymous phone call. It seems there's a force behind this that I don't know about. At this point, Marco told Lino, that person is the boss of the OAFS anti-drug department. It was he who wanted to destroy Marco and Areski. He is the one behind the drug market and the one who controls both black and white. It was he who wanted me dead. And Moreau, of course, wants to use Marco as bait to catch big fish. So she let Marco join the witness protection program. If successful, Marco still has the opportunity to rebuild his wife. Julia also knew all this. Lino was really angry because he felt everyone had betrayed him. He was extremely disappointed and did not answer Julia's phone call at all, refusing to listen to her explanation. He was alone and angry. Anyway, even though Lino joined the police team, he comes from a rough background and has a criminal record. Combined with the dragon-kissing incident, many police here have conflicts with him. Given that, Lino decided to find an outsider. He thought of a plan and immediately prepared to take action. He put on protective armor under his jacket and prepared to repeat his rampage. Meanwhile, Yuri of the anti-drug unit also came here to ask Moreau
to hand over Marco according to the administrative order. Moreau could not directly disobey orders and could only watch as Yuri's men took Marco away. Marco was really scared to death. As a result, the god of war Lino arrived at this moment. He threw in a flash grenade. Lino, you are truly a cruel person who dares to do this right in your police station. Yuri reacted the fastest. Moreau and the others were a beat behind and were instantly disoriented by the grenade. God of War Lino is online. But Lino's goal is to take Marco away, not to destroy the police department. So he grabbed Marco and left immediately, locking the door so his colleagues were stuck here. Yuri and Moreau and the others gradually recovered. A few people who were not affected much decided to take a detour. And Yuri also saw his female teammate lying next to him, and he was extremely angry. Lino dragged Marco out. Other colleagues saw him grab Marco and immediately told him to release Marco. Lino, of course, could not release Marco. So everyone rushed up, and the rampage officially started version 2.0. With the reputation of taking down the police department from part 1 still there, when everyone rushed forward, they used batons. Luckily, Lino was wearing protective armor, otherwise it would be disastrous. Seeing Marco without protective armor being hit by the stake is enough to know how painful it is. As soon as Marco saw people fighting, he immediately wanted to escape. Lino had to fight while pushing Marco back. Here again appeared a female police officer with very good skills. A straight kick knocks Lino down, and then she begins to grapple. Marco ran away again, but Lino was tripped and fell. At this time, reinforcements from the drug control department arrived, also driving a wagon. I get it here, as long as you're a villain, you drive a wagon. The anti-drug department team started fighting for Marco, and more people came. They even started ganging up on Lino. What a chaotic battle. As a result, both sides fought, each pulling Marco towards them. It looked like a pair of lovers in a life-and-death separation. As expected of the French, even the battle scene was filmed so romantically. I counted a total of 5 people here holding Lino. Lino is really strong. As for Marco, who was pulled into the wagon by the drug unit, he was really scared. He knew that if he fell into Lino's hands, he might still have a way to live, but the drug unit wanted to take his life. Just like that, he was stuffed into the wagon, but still desperately trying to find a way to save himself. The war god Lino was still fighting and started using improvised weapons. He picked up a fire extinguisher and started spraying. These shots really hurt. I have to ask,
What style are Lino's pants? They're so durable. However, European military pants brands other than Helicon are all too expensive. As for the drug officer, he got into the car, but the door didn't automatically lock, so Lino pulled him out. As a result, this person still tried to take action and was looking for death. He was easier to deal with, and Lino easily handled him. Lino grabbed Marco and stuffed him into the trunk of the car, but then he suddenly remembered something and quickly opened it to take a photo. At this time, Yuri, the trump card of the anti-drug department, brought someone over, but his subordinates were easily dealt with by Lino. Yuri stepped forward, looking in perfect condition, and confronted Lino, who still had a bit of blood left. Yuri looks dominant, but Lino, ever resourceful, uses a low blow, causing Yuri extreme pain. After Lino got in the car, the race began. Is anyone paying attention? Lino actually hid the beast of a car here. He really respected Julia. Therefore, this film builds characters in very subtle details. There are many dialogue scenes to introduce the characters for the sequel. In part 2, there are no more dead spots, it's all action. Meanwhile, Roche in Spain, when he received the news from Lino, was very happy and immediately prepared to receive Marco. But Julia is not happy at all. She knew Lino was going crazy, so she had a headache and immediately chased after Lino. In her eyes, Lino is violating the rules. She was afraid that something would happen to Lino. On the other side, Lino is still being chased by police cars. France is in trouble. Faced with a siege of police cars, Lino began to perform agile driving moves like a snake. But the terrain here is not complicated, and the number of cars is also not large enough. He had not found a chance to escape from the police car. Lino started looking for a target. This long bus in front is very good. Let's hope the passengers on the bus are not in a hurry to go to work. As for the police car, it's okay. They can replace it with a new one. Having finished with the police car, Lino drove down a small road and began to lose his pursuers. But Julia kept up. It must be said that Julia is also Lino's goddess and teammate. She understood Lino's thoughts very well. The two of them kept chasing each other on this small road. Facing Julia, Lino cannot be cruel. In the end, he could only accelerate, hoping to use his speed to lose Julia. But the moment he exited the tunnel, he was dazzled by the sun. Lino quickly dodged, and Julia couldn't brake in time, so the goddess's car flew off the road. Lino slowed down because he was a little worried about Julia, kept looking for her through the rearview mirror.
Until he saw a police car behind him, he was forced to drive away. While driving, he consoled himself. Julia is okay. But Julia, with her wild hairstyle, is just a little shaken up. She directly took her subordinate's car and continued the pursuit. After escaping from the police, Lino heard Julia's voice on the walkie-talkie. Hearing that Julia was okay, Lino was very happy. Julia advised him not to do foolish things. You know the law, but still break it. Think of Leela. Think of Leela's children. But Lino was determined to bring Marco before the law. If it were Charis, he would definitely do that. Julia was speechless. Julia led the police team on a chase, but they did not know that Lino was hiding next to the road. Julia and her teammates chased all the way to the border without finding a trace of Lino. And what Julia didn't know was that the truck opposite was the one that came to support Lino. Roche and his teammates made an appointment with Lino to deliver Marco within French territory. At the meeting point, Lino got out of the car to rest and let Marco in the trunk breathe. He also took off his protective armor to check his wound. Marco begins to manipulate Lino. The whole world is looking for us. We can't escape. Lino normally didn't bother to say much to him. When Roche arrived, as soon as Marco saw him, he knew he had completely lost. After handing Marco over to Roche, Lino called Leela. Leela thoughtfully said, I understand. You're not that bastard Areski. I trust you to do what you have to do. Oh my god, I was also touched by the two of them. Lino sets out to begin diverting the enemy's attention from Roche and his teammates. When Roche's truck was about to be intercepted by the police team, Lino's Renault 21 appeared. Lino started leading the chase, dragging the opponents along, which was really cool. He led the police car directly into a field of rubble and easily handled a few pursuing police cars, until he met Julia. The two stopped the car and looked at each other with complicated eyes. In part 1, they teamed up. In the second part, they raced against each other. What an intimate relationship. But Julia is nonetheless an elite. Lino was hit by her car and repeatedly skidded. The engine couldn't even start. Julia quickly got out of the car and took out her gun. But she opened the trunk and couldn't find Marco. She immediately notified border control to request a thorough check of each vehicle. But the radio told her that the head of the drug department had already sent someone to block the way. Damn, the anti-drug department wants to silence him. Lino immediately told Julia to warn Roche, but it's too late. Roche and his teammates were ambushed by the anti-drug bureau. But Roche did not choose to back down from a direct confrontation. Faced with the guns of the drug department, he rushed forward. Roche and his teammates were unharmed, but the driver was injured. Julia quickly told Roche and his teammates to hide while she found someone to assist. Lino finally found an opportunity to unleash the beast. The Renault 21 is in its most complete state. Now their common enemy is the anti-drug department. Unfortunately, the convoy of the anti-drug bureau quickly discovered Roche and his teammates. 3 wagons formed a direct pursuit formation and, without saying much, opened fire immediately. One thing that's strange is why they only fire 1 shot at a time. It's really so cautious. Julia also caught up, but the drug unit now doesn't respect anyone's authority. They even shot at Julia. Luckily, her Megan is bulletproof. Julia immediately drove forward to shield Roche's truck from damage. At this moment, the beast arrived. The drug prevention department has 3 cars left. You guys are done. Lino approached one. Lino rushed in. Lino rammed it. This scene was truly explosive. It surprised even Roche. Now the enemy has 2 left. It's simple. Lino just needs to do it 2 more times.
Lino came closer again. Lino rushed in again. Lino rammed again. This time it flew even higher and farther. If I were the last car, I would directly stop the car and give up. Anyone who wants to do it can do it. But this guy was still very professional and started targeting Lino. It's okay. Lino came closer and rushed in. This time, Lino missed. Anyway, Lino has already used the move twice in a row, so Lino is a bit tired. But that's okay. After a cooldown, Lino is ready. This time, the car of the drug prevention department flew far into the river and even hit Lino's Renault 21. Luckily, he wasn't killed. Now the enemy has been dealt with. Julia immediately turned around and directly overturned Rocher's truck. She is truly dedicated to her mission of capturing Marco. Marco saw Lino chasing behind and was scared to death and immediately got into Julia's car. Lino saw something was wrong and chased after her, easily catching up to Julia's Megane. Faced with the goddess, Lino did not choose to ram her and just wanted to bump the opponent's car. But Julia did not hesitate to floor it. The engine immediately glowed red and its speed tripled, so Lino was directly shaken off. It was Julia's turn to stop the car to see if Lino was okay. I said, these two people's relationship is really complicated. Luckily, Lino was unharmed, just staring at the wrecked Renault 21 again, heartbroken. This is not just a car, but also Charis's last legacy. Just like that, the two looked at each other until John and Victoria arrived to arrest Lino on Moro's orders. Julia argues with Moro. This time,
She said really angrily, if Moreau wants to capture Lino, I'll hand Marco over to the Spanish. Lino on the side spots danger. The anti-drug department's trump card, Yuri, has arrived. As soon as Yuri got out of the car, he opened fire. Poor Jean was hit as Marco used him as a shield. The scene immediately rang out with gunshots. This created an opportunity for Marco. He drove the police car away, and in the back seat there was Lino, handcuffed. As a result, Julia on the other side fell into a standoff. You only have so many bullets. Fortunately, at this time, Rocher, the Spanish sharpshooter, arrived. A beautiful slide with a shotgun neatly dealt with the two men of the anti-drug department. However, Yuri does not die because he still has to live until the third part. Rocher gave the shotgun to Julia and told her to quickly go support Lino. Lino in the car is still risking his life to deal with Marco. So what if both hands are handcuffed? He directly turned around and pressed down on Marco hard, even causing his seat to fall over. Marco was pressed against the steering wheel, so Marco really pathetically crashed his car into a tree, got out of the car, and was beaten up again. Waiting until Julia arrived, there was no one at the scene. Lino dragged Marco to a rustic restaurant in Spain. He told the waitress to quickly call the police. He looked at Marco, who was unconscious, and felt he was safe, so he went to the bar to drink water. A tragic result happened. Marco stabbed him twice in the side with a fork. At this moment, Julia just arrived. Marco immediately grabbed the female employee hostage and asked Julia to put down her weapon. Julia told Lino to cover the wound, then put the gun on the ground and pushed it far away with her foot. Then she rushed forward and transformed into a female god of war. Throughout this film, Julia always struggles. For Marco's life, she went against her principles, straining her relationship with Lino just to save Marco's life. As a result, Marco is now playing this game and is literally killing himself. So Marco got his wish, but Julia was dumbfounded. This was a completely unintentional incident. She did not want to kill Marco. Things have now become worse, but Lino shouldered everything for Julia. He walked over and picked up the shotgun, loaded it, and used one shot to finish off Marco. Perhaps because Lino had no law enforcement authority in Spain, he killed a man. Just like that, Julia got him out of there. Lino said to Lila's child to take good care of Lila and the child, and then obediently surrendered. Lila is truly so pathetic. In part 1, Arieski's miserable husband abandoned his wife and children. In the second part, she had a hard time finding true love and ended up with her lover in prison, becoming a single mother again. But when he returned to France, Julia told Moreau that she had done it herself. Moreau was very angry and wanted Julia to change her testimony to blame Lino. Otherwise, all efforts will be wasted. In fact, now that Marco is dead, Moreau's plan is considered useless, but Julia does not compromise this time. She dropped her badge and resigned, refusing to lie for Moreau. The story also comes to an end. Charis's Renault 21, after being wrecked, finally became a pile of rubble. Its fighting spirit evaporates into thin air. A man drove a motorcycle here. From the wreck, he got the necklace from the Renault 21. He abandoned his motorcycle and chose to switch to an MPV, and this person was Arieski. As for Lino's fate, where did he go? What will become of Julia and Lila? Then everyone will know if you watch the Lost Bullet 3 video that I made. The value of a movie lies in its reputation, and the value of a movie review lies in its insight. Today's story ends here. Thank you for reading. How do you like this movie? Please comment below.